It's time to check your money with Mike Jennings. Mike Jennings is a wealth advisor with Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. It was a week ago, Michael. Let's go,
It's
Knicks.
short week. Short week. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, that was a great victory for long-suffering New
Hmm.
York Knicks fans. We're still basking in the glow. The parade has happened and all of that good stuff, and yet we're basking in
Yep.
the glow of love for our beloved
Hmm.
Knickerbockers. So that's what's going on, my brother.
Yeah. It was a good series, and obviously they had the great series all the way through for the championship. But just the story and everything too, with obviously Jalen Brunson, the captain, the man, the king of New York. um, Rick Brunson, Syracuse native. So it was a lot of history that culminated into what happened last Saturday. And in New York, you would just just lost its collective mind, and in a good way, in a
In
good
a
way. It was
in a
very,
good
very
way.
celebratory. And yes, what is it? They call the biggest city feel like a small town.
And people want to, why you talking about the Knicks? That was last week. Because
That's right. That's right. But I mean, we can keep it going a little bit. We're not gonna be talking about the Knicks,
you
but there's
you are going to
another
talk about some orange, right? It's
some orange and blue
right.
that's still coming up in our schedule here. So yes, recently Syracuse University's new chancellor Mike Haney says that the school is currently facing a budget deficit for its
Uh-oh.
upcoming year. And
Mm-hmm.
right, due to under enrollment with undergraduates. Um, and for one, he had sent this letter to the staff, faculty, and everything that obviously was released publicly. It was noted that, this level of transparency is one that we don't really often see from university leaders. So I think people kind of took that and honed in on it a little bit. Um, so Chancellor Haney says that the number of 18-year-old high school graduates peaked last year and is expected to decline for the near future, a couple decades. And that is actually supported by a report from the Interstate Commission for Higher Education,
Mm-hmm.
saying that the U.S. did in fact see a record number of high school graduates this year or last year, and starting this year, what's to follow is a long period of decline, which we did actually see, and that decline is supposed to be 13% overall by the end of 2041. The report says that this is obviously largely due to the declining birth rate in the U.S., and also partly from not as big as an impact, but still partly from the educational interruptions with particularly younger students from the pandemic with COVID. What's also stated is that different regions are going to see will see more impact because of this, particularly larger states, with New York State expecting or expected to see 25% less high school enrollment
Mm.
by 2041, which of course would lead to smaller amount of graduates. So
High
with
school enrollment?
undergrad tuition, yes, high school enrollment. High school
Mm.
enrollment will decrease by 2041. So with undergrad tuition being the main revenue driver for private universities like Syracuse, the issue is all the more obvious. Um, well, another issue that also should be noted is with the stricter immigration policies affecting international student enrollment, which fell by 17% according to
Mm-hmm.
the Institute of International Education. That's a whole other thing that, we're not going to get into all of that with the administration and how they're dealing with everything. But Speaking as someone who Syracuse is my alma mater, as an alumnus,
Hmm.
the international presence at Syracuse was always a big thing when I was there. Seeing overall decline across the country will be a big issue. Hopefully not for long. Hopefully we can get somebody with a little bit more sense in a position to change some things. But anyway, back to the university. It's no surprise that the leaders there are concerned about facing increased competition for students with the shrinking pool of college applicants overall. Chancellor Haney said that this is a moment that requires urgency and strategic action rather than crisis management. So he doesn't want us to be, losing our minds right now. Um, and I mean, speaking frankly, we've likely already seen some of this, a couple months ago when the university ended like 93 academic programs. Granted, most of them were outdated. I think like 55 of them were outdated, didn't have any student enrollments, but they were still listed. Um, but I mean, just the move in general, right? The university also offered voluntary retirement to 175 faculty members. So they're clearly are, looking at the budget sheet and seeing what expenses can be cut here and there and everything. At the end of the day, there isn't really anything that they can do to increase the level of applicants in the future because again, this stems from the declining birth rate in the US, right? That's something that that's a trend that takes time to curb. Um, People are waiting longer to have children and are just having less overall. So and with the economy, you can see how the economy is going. So I don't really see that reversing anytime soon. And that itself has implications far beyond college enrollment. So we can definitely expect to see the strain from that show in many um, other areas that we haven't seen it shown up yet over the next couple of decades. But again, speaking on SU, what I won't, what I don't expect is the cost of attendance to go down at all. Um, in fact, it might even ramp up at the current more than it does currently at its current rate. College tuition in general has outpaced general inflation for a very long time, but Syracuse University in particular has even outpaced the rate of other expensive institutions. Their tuition over the last 10 years since I graduated has increased over 51% from about 43,000 a year to 65,500 last year. And mind you, that is just strictly tuition.
That's
So
tuition.
for
That
the people
doesn't,
that aren't
not books, not housing, not
aware,
any of that. Yeah.
tuition tuition is that's the big portion, right? But you still have the rest of, like George said, room and board, meal plans, books, everything else that goes into attending college, outside of tuition that increases the overall cost of the attendance is what it's called. And I think currently this year, the cost of attendance per year is it's like I think it's 9,000, 90,000, or 95,000. Either way, it's ridiculous.
That's your
The amount
cost
of
of
money it costs
attending.
to go cost of attendance overall. It's that's insane to me. I probably wouldn't have gone if I would have told my mom 14 years ago that it costed almost six figures to go to Syracuse for every year for 4 years.
Right.
I'd probably be somewhere else. Had I been somewhere else.
That's nearly what, a half a
So
million dollars.
oh yeah, easily, easily. So I mean, looking at the big picture, right? The landscape of college planning for those with young kids or those still planning for kids will be all the more critical. I mean, families will have to make real decisions about which colleges they're aiming for because, what this likely means is that prestigious and elite schools like Syracuse will just become more competitive as the costs increase, not less. So planning has to include what families can expect in terms of aid, in terms of what assets they can build for themselves, and whether their future graduate is comfortable going into the world with the level of debt that $100,000 a year over will create for them. And again, I mean, college tuition increase is somewhere around 5 to 6 in overall and an average. Syracuse has outpaced that and many of the in previous years. So the I mean, if you had a kid now, or you have a young kid, we're talking, let's say 10, 15 years in the future. That's another 50, that could be another 50% increase. So we could be talking about 125, 130,000 per year. So, we have to put that into perspective as in terms of like where we're headed as a country. So again, that level of planning has to come in quicker. It has to be more critical during these years. So if if this is a concern in your household, I know I myself will be putting a few extra dollars in my baby boy's 529 account. Don't wait any longer to account for your future, right? Give your friendly neighborhood advisor a call at 315-748-5540. Again, that's 315-748-5540. Or you can send me an email at michael.jennings@brackensfsn.com.
All right, Mike Jennings is a wealth advisor with Brackens Financial Solutions Network LLC and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. He is your friendly neighborhood advisor.